Will AI replace civil engineers? You are going to get two different answers depending on who you ask. Two answers, both wrong. Ask someone selling AI software and they'll tell you it's going to change everything. Buy now. Ask an engineer who's scared for their job and they'll tell you it's all hype. Nothing to worry about. AI can't even draw a proper detail. Both of those answers are wrong, or at least they're both incomplete. So instead of giving you a hot take, I actually looked at AI tools. I actually went and looked at what AI tools are being used on real infrastructure projects right now, what the actual studies say about automation risk in this field, and what it means for you, whether you are a civil engineer or trying to become one. I've been in this field for over 10 years. I've done design work, represented an agency, worked as a contractor. So I've seen this from basically every angle. Let's get to the honest truth. What AI can actually do, design and planning. Let's deal with what AI can do in civil engineering right now, today, not in some hypothetical future, because a lot of engineers are still operating like this. Because a lot of engineers are still operating like this is a science fiction, and it isn't. On the design side, Autodesk's generative design tools can actually take a set of constraints, load requirements, material limits, environmental impact targets, and spit out hundreds of viable structural design alternatives in the time it would actually take a junior engineer to sketch out two or three by hand. That's real, that's deployed, that's being used on projects right now. On the scheduling side and risk side, there's a company called Nplan that uses machine learning and probabilistic simulation to forecast project delays. On London's HS2 high speed rail project, Nplan ran 10,000 simulations overnight and flagged over 400 activities with more than 35% chance of slipping behind schedule. That used to be a task that took a senior scheduler days of manual risk analysis. Now it runs overnight while everyone's asleep. There's a company called Alice Technologies doing something similar, simulating thousands of construction sequencing scenarios to find the fastest, cheapest path through a build. Something that used to rely entirely on a superintendent's gut instinct and experience. Inspection and safety. On the inspection side, there's a tool that uses smartphone sensors and edge AI to detect rail defects, and it's being used on the New York City subway system, catching defects across the track network with over 90% recall. There's robotics backed by Michelin that uses image recognition from vehicle mounted cameras to automatically identify cracks, potholes, and surface defects on pavement, a job that used to require someone physically walking or driving every mile of the road with a clipboard. So that is just amazing. On the safety side, there's a platform called smartvid.io that analyzes job site camera footage in real time to flag unsafe worker behavior before it becomes an incident. And on the structural health side, there is a company called Sixth Sense that reads sensor data embedded in infrastructure, bridges, dams, tunnels to detect anomalies and predict failures before they happen, instead of waiting for a scheduled inspection to catch it. I'm telling you all of this to not scare you, but because I think most engineers have no idea how far this really is. This isn't a 5 years from now conversation. This is a right now conversation. If your mental model of AI in civil engineering is a chatbot that writes bad specs, you are behind. And you need to actually go look at what's being deployed on real projects. So, okay, if all that is real and already happening, doesn't that mean that the job is at risk? Here is where it gets more honest and more complicated because not all civil engineering work is equally exposed. Designing structures came in about 50%. Analyzing site data came in about 60%. Ensuring code compliance came in at 40%. But overseeing construction, actually being the person on site managing people and making real time judgment calls, came in at only 25%. Compare that to a completely different source that scores civil engineering at only 10% automation risk overall, calling it minimal risk. So which one is right? Honestly, both, because they are measuring different things. The tasks that are pattern based and live entirely on a screen are genuinely exposed, but the tasks that involve physically standing on a site where soil conditions change 3 or 4 times within 1,000 square foot, coordinating 5 trades who are behind schedule for 5 different reasons, are not going anywhere. AI is very good at finding patterns in data. It is not good at standing in a mud, making judgment calls with incomplete information and real consequences if you are wrong. The license wall. And that brings me to the single biggest reason civil engineering is structurally more protected from AI than almost any other white collar field going through this disruption right now. It's the stamp. If you are a copywriter, an illustrator, a junior developer, there is no license standing between you and being replaced by software. Civil engineering doesn't work that way. A PE license is issued to an individual who is a human being. It cannot be issued to an algorithm. An AI cannot sit for the FE exam. It cannot accumulate 4 years of documented experience under a licensed engineer. It cannot sit for a PE exam. And most importantly, it cannot be held personally, legally, financially liable when something goes wrong. When a design gets stamped, that stamp means a specific human being is putting their license, their insurance, and their career on the line to say this is safe. No AI company is going to let their model take on that liability, and no state licensing board is going to give them that license either. That's not a temporary regulatory quirk. That's the load bearing wall of this entire profession, and it's exactly the thing that AI cannot cross. Replacement versus compression. So if the stamp protects the profession, does that mean nothing changes and you can just relax? No. And this is the honest truth part. The real risk isn't replacement, it's compression. AI isn't going to walk into a firm and replace a senior PE. What it's going to do, what it's already doing, is let one senior engineer supervise the output of tools that used to require 2 or 3 entry-level engineers doing red lines, running quantity takeoffs, and generating design iterations by hand. The work still gets done. It just takes fewer people to do it. That means the entry level tier of this profession is going to be more competitive, not because the career is disappearing, but because firms need fewer bodies to produce the same output. That's still valuable, and that's still becoming more valuable. It's being the person who can tell when the AI's output is wrong and who can turn that raw output into something a client and a code official will actually accept. So, what do you need to do about it? You have to stay ahead of it. First, get licensed as fast as you responsibly can. The PE license was already the single biggest pay jump in this career, and now it's going to be the single biggest moat against automation because it's one thing in this profession, because it's one thing in this profession that legally cannot be replaced by software. Second, stop thinking about these AI tools as your competition and start thinking of them as an equipment. The engineers who learn to use generative design, AI scheduling, and automated inspection tools are going to run circles around the engineers who refuse to touch them out of principle. Third, do not skip the fundamentals because the AI can do it for you. If you learn how to do a calculation by hand, you will not be able to catch it when the AI gets it wrong, and it will get it wrong. Fourth, lean into these Lean into the parts of this job that are human, the client conversations, the site judgment calls, the coordination between people who all want something different. Those are not going away. The verdict. So, will AI replace civil engineers? No, but it's already changing which parts of this job matter. It's raising the bar for what makes an entry level engineer worth hiring. And it's making the license you eventually earn more valuable than it's ever been. That's the honest truth, not the doom version, not the everything's fine version, the actual complicated in between version that nobody's incentivized to sell you. If you're trying to get into this field or move up in here, and the 4 year degree and PE path feels like it's a long road, check out CourseCareers on a construction project management course and a construction engineering course, both built for people who want to learn faster into this industry and without a degree. Links are below. I've had friends who've taken this course and they were able to get their foot in the door in this industry. And if you work in the field already, I want to know, what AI tools have you actually seen on a real project, and did it help, or did it just create more work checking its output? Drop it in the comments. I'll cover the best ones in the next video. Thanks, everyone.